Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Pupil's Life. My name is Nicholas, and I'm just getting situated here in my new little setup. I got a new microphone. I don't know if you guys can tell or not. This is my second podcast with it. So now I don't have to leave my fucking desk. If I want to record a podcast, if I want to write, whatever I want to do, I can do from my desk. Isn't that the future for us all in America? The American dream, right, is to not have to move in order to do anything. Just have everything at your fingertips. I'm just getting situated here. It's a stormy night in Austin. You might be able to hear it in the background. And it's also my last day off for the week. I gotta be up at 7 in the morning and go pretend that I know how to be a manager. Yeah, it's crazy. I guess I'll start with that. I recently got promoted to assistant general manager at my job, and it's weird, man. I mean, not because I feel like I'm not supposed to be there, because this is one job where I have felt, like I know what I'm doing, and I don't think that there's anyone there who knows how to do it better, at least not at this moment, except maybe for the manager, right? But it's weird because I work, like, I'll have closing shifts or where it's just me and 2 or 3 other dudes, and every single one of them is older than me. There's like a 37-year-old dude, there's like a fucking 29-year-old, and then me, right? And it's not weird between us. Like, it's not weird in any way except for in the numbers. But it's cool, right? It's cool. I get to be in a position of being a role model, and I still feel that way, even though, like, there's people that work there who are younger than me, and I feel like a little bit of a role model for them, because some of them, it's their first job, some of them are $20 or $20, they're 20 years old. I'm looking at a fucking $20 bill on my desk. Some of them are 20 years old, and even though I'm just 24, it's like, when I was 20 years old and I was working at a food truck for my first job, my managers were 22, 23, but I thought they were like fucking 28. It felt like they were 28. And it's weird to feel that way about a 37-year-old too. And I'm not trying to talk shit about him. He's a great guy. He's fucking hilarious. Storyteller. But the stories that he tells are just fucking. Oh, bro, I woke up the other day and I didn't remember what happened last night. Like, great fucking story, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, what do you say, right? He's just like, yeah, my buddies and I went out to a fucking bar last night and don't remember a single thing about it, right? Like, great fucking story. It's like, those are the best nights. And this guy's just fucking, it's a hoot. I don't know. It's surreal too, because I'm a quiet dude, especially when I'm at work, unless it's really slow and there's nothing to do, just like fucking, I don't know. I like to focus on what I'm doing and just focus on the physicality of it, right? I don't like to be thinking and be in conversation while I'm doing something else. And this guy just won't stop talking. And it's weird when it's just me and him there, because most of the time he can talk to other people while I'll just kind of scurry away and start chopping some fucking tomatoes or something. When it's just me and him, there's no escaping. And so the other night he was telling me a story. He went on a bachelor trip recently, bachelor party. I mean, and I've never been on one, if you can't tell already. He went on a bachelor party trip to Louisiana, right? I don't need to tell you where in Louisiana, but we all know where in Louisiana he went. And he came back and he's like, "Oh, bro, the fucking bachelor party in Louisiana, it was fucking crazy, bro." And I won't tell you any stories because like you need to know my friends, right, in order to find them funny. But like this one night, dude, and then he just jumps into a story about fucking going out drinking with his friends in Louisiana, and oh, we went to a fucking strip club. Like, I'm like, dude, where do you think we are right now? There's people like asking us for parking validations, and he's just like, at the strip club, bro. And yeah, he's a cool dude. I don't know. He to me is like a traditional American male's life at 37. Right? At least what we have been used to as traditional. Like, just goes to a college, joins a frat, fucking like, yeah, fucking partying, and then he gets a job at an office and works there for 10 years. 32nd birthday, he decides he doesn't like that industry and just fucking joins the food service industry. And then decides to move to Austin, Texas, and start working at a gym, right? Or I don't know. But yeah, cool guy. Work's been good. I'm sorry, maybe there was supposed to be more to his Louisiana story, but doesn't seem like there was, you know. Work's been good. I saw a fucking guy yesterday too. You know, I've been off work for a couple days, and I saw this guy yesterday just through my window, right? I'm just like sitting on my bedroom floor, looking at the window, reading a book, because I'm 24, right? And that's what 24-year-olds do when they have free time. They don't go to parties or fucking exercise, you know? We just sit at our bedroom floor reading books. But I'm sitting there and I'm looking out my window, and I see this fucking guy just pull up. You know, there's a divide between my apartment complex and the parking lot to the grocery store across from it. But he's on like the outer edges of the parking lot. And he just rolls up to a little spot on a little bit of a hill, and he just, on a motorcycle, parks it, sits there, starts eating, right? And then he pulls out his phone. And then he just kind of puts his hands around his head and like in that leaned back pose. And I finished a chapter, and then a second chapter, and then a third chapter, and then I look over and he's still fucking there, right? And it's like 50 minutes. And I'm like, is he waiting for somebody, right? That doesn't know that he's waiting for them? And I'm just watching this dude, and like, I don't know, what could that fucking guy have been up to, right? Just like that's where he likes to go for peace and quiet. And he wasn't young either, like some shit I would do, right? If I had a motorcycle, just go and park in some scenic parking lot, and wherever that is, and like write poems on pen and paper. And yeah, then these two guys that look straight out of like a Power Rangers movie from the 90s, just walking toward him, and I'm like, oh shit, something's about to go down, right? I pull out my phone, bring out the camera, and I'm waiting for something to happen, and then they walk, and then they walk right past him, right? Maybe a few yards to his left, and they're coming towards my apartment, and they go through a chain link fence, that has a slit, like a pre-made slit through the fence. Like this isn't the first time that they've that they've done this off-beaten path. And then they're just in between my apartment complex and the parking lot, in between two fences in a grassy area, carrying a bucket of goodies. and they're just walking toward the trash cans and just like where their home is set up, I guess. But can you imagine if that was your fucking life? Just, you know, if all you took with you outside was a bucket and the clothes that you had on, and maybe a friend if you had them, like this dude, or maybe not. Maybe you were just going through a harder time than most. You know, because I don't know, homeless people, they always have someone else around them that's homeless. They're not just, you know, I mean, unless you're out by like the train tracks or something, you're not gonna find just one homeless dude, right? Like you're in downtown San Francisco and you're on fucking Ashbury Street or something. I don't know San Francisco streets, but you're on Ashbury Street and you're just gonna see one homeless dude, right? Like where are you gonna find just one homeless dude, and what's he gonna be up to? Why is he over there? Most of the time, they're hanging in packs. Like Congress Street here in Austin, there's a theater, right? The Hideout Theater on 7th Street, right before 7th Street. And there's a 7-Eleven right next to them, which is, you know, you're not going to find just one homeless man sitting outside of a 7-Eleven. And what do you find here? You find like a whole sidewalk of them. But yeah, what are these? Imagine if that was your fucking life. Just walking around with a bucket, not really knowing, you know, like, well, what's on the agenda today? Do we need what do we need? Cleaning supplies, fucking food, medicine, right? Where can we go find these things that don't cost money? Crazy to think about. And what do you do, right? How do you solve the problem of homelessness? Because a lot of these people are drug addicts, or were recovering drug addicts now. A lot of these people are fucking mentally ill, maybe because of the drugs, or maybe because of a war. So a lot of them, you know, they need to go through a rehabilitation process before they can really stand on their own 2 feet. And so then you got to dedicate a lot of money and fucking the government and all these procedures, right? And yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's really addressed very much. And it's weird because it happens all over the world. It's like something we've just universally agreed. It's like, oh, we'll fight about religion and like who our Lord is and what his rules are. We'll fight about who we want to be our fucking leader, right? In the real world. Not our dead one, but our real one. Like who between these two people did you elect? We fight about that a lot. We fight about just all kinds of injustices, right? But homelessness, we're just all like, they kind of smell, and not very good. You know, if they were walking into your fucking restaurant, you know, like there's this one guy that walks into my job, in my work, almost every morning, at least every morning that I'm there, and he just serves himself, like refills his canteen with water, and he smelled like, if that guy smelled like fucking Lacoste perfume or something, like I still wouldn't like it, but I could put up with it. Or not put up with it, but I could fucking not be affected in my work because of it. We get those guys all the time, right? But this guy, most of them smell like they haven't showered, like they're fucking reality, like they haven't showered in fucking 10 months. so yeah, we don't like to think about that. We don't like to fix shit that is apparent in needing fixing. Um, and it's weird to walk around the streets or ride my bicycle, because I feel like when you're in a car, it's a little bit more like, I'm in this fucking spaceship. Like, this is a different world. I'm just kind of traveling from my world, which is my apartment, to my work world. And this car is like my middle world, where I can pretend that what I'm seeing is not real, right? Because this is my oxygen, and that's their oxygen. But when you're on your bike, it's like you almost feel like you're a part of them, right? Like, I can't afford a car either. I'm also on the fucking streets. There's homeless guys that have nicer bikes than I do, right? And you can call that a crime, but I just call it being street savvy, knowing which apartment complexes the people are too lazy in to bring their bikes in their apartment, right? You gotta know some kind of information to get that bike. It's not just pure muscle. But yeah, when I'm on my bike, I feel a lot closer to them. I feel more like, damn, like there's tents on a sidewalk, and fucking like fishing rods just strewn about their yard, which is like the back lot to a Subway or something. They're hanging out around trash cans. They're hanging out, if you got something you got to dispose of, you got to you go to I saw this guy urinating in front of a fucking trash can, not in front of, inside of a trash can once. Urinating into a trash can. And oh man, that if I do that, I get thrown in jail. Then it's like a little bit like, all right, dude, this is the kind of shit I care about, right? Why can't I be pissing out in public, but you can? Why is it that I can't be out in Why is it that I can't be out in public like that, but you can? And it's because we just assume like, oh, they're fucking mentally ill, right? So that makes it okay. And yeah, but enough about homeless people. Goddamn, that was long, right? Are you still there? It's just crazy to imagine a day like this. Yeah, but luckily, right? this is a podcast about white males' privilege, at least in the name. Even though I am half Mexican, and I consider myself more Mexican than American, because I still have, Mexico's got years on me. I've only been in the U.S. for 5-6 years, if you're counting like aggregate total, right? From all my different stints in different places. So yeah, my life's not too bad. I went to a trivia night. That's what you do when you're not homeless, is just go spend time not in your home. So technically we're aspiring all to be homeless. No, but yeah, man, fucking went to a trivia. That's always a nice time. And it's always, I don't know, there is a very competitive aspect to it, I don't go just because it's nice to drink a beer out in public. I go because I think that I can win. And I think everyone that goes to a trivia night thinks that they can win. Except for fucking, Steve's girlfriend, right? Who's just there because she doesn't have any friends. And if she does, none of them go out to do anything. They all just, I don't know, women, dude. What am I even talking about? I don't know American women. Like, I was thinking about that the other day. I grew up with both English and Spanish as my native languages, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And when I'm writing, I prefer the English language because it feels like I can express my feelings a lot more. But when I write in Spanish, it's like I know a lot more that I could write about, or like I know a lot more different ways to write, because I know a lot more different ways that people are. A lot more different people. I don't know I didn't grow up with an American girl as my classmate. I grew up with a bunch of Mexican girls and a bunch of Mexican boys and a bunch of Mexican teachers and Canadian teachers, sure. but yeah, I don't know. I find that interesting because a lot of people always ask me like, "Oh, which one do you prefer?" And I'm like, I don't actually have a yes or no answer to that. Which one do I prefer to speak? Fucking Spanish. If I could do this podcast in Spanish and still be like talking about real shit, I would, but I don't know that I could do that, And so it's like, which one do I prefer to write? Well, then it's English, but which one am I better at? I don't know. What fucking question are you asking me, right? Are you even asking a question? You're not, because it's just me talking into a fucking microphone all by myself. What else, man? I bought a new wallet. I think I told you guys I lost my fucking wallet at a Joker screening, and I just bought a new one, right? Because I went on the website when I lost my wallet, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy a new fucking wallet, and I'm signing up, and I'm checking out, and it's like, oh, insert your payment method, and I'm like, oh, my fucking payment method is in my fucking wallet, like, so I lost that too, right? and yeah, it's been like 2 weeks, and I fucking finally got my cards back. That's what you deal with when you're trying to live like a healthy life, or like a normal, not self-destructing life. It's like, fuck, man, I lost my wallet, dude. I gotta go buy a new one now. Fuck, man, I gotta email Chase about new cards. It's like, that's as worse. That's as bad as it gets for me these days. And I think about some of my friends, at least friends, I don't know. Just the things that I hear them saying, like, oh, I took out a $1,000 loan, and and I had to pay it in months, right? In 6 months. And I'm like 6 months after he tells me that, he's like, oh, dude, I just finished paying off my loan. And I'm like, oh, well, good for you. And he was like, yeah, I had to make one final payment of $1,000. And I was like, a final payment? You said the loan was for $1,000. He's like, yeah, but because of the interest, it ended up being like $3,000. If that happened to me, I think I would fucking just, move back home with my dad and quit life. I don't know, if I saw just my bank statement go from like what it is now to like 2% of what it is now, because I just was like so desperate for money. That would be demoralizing, I guess. But why am I being so judgmental, right? Because that's another thing you do when you get to a place where things feel a little bit more stable, is you start to look at other people's issues so that you can take them on. It's like, God, like, losing my wallet's not enough, man. I gotta think about this guy's issues too now. Wanted to go to a movie, and I almost saw Joker for a third time. I don't know. I don't remember the last time I felt that way about a movie. you know? I mean, I've seen movies like a lot of times, but in theaters with what it costs these days, right? It's like a $15 ticket, unless you want to buy it at the theater, which means you're going to be sitting and you don't know where. So it's like you could be watching it in the front row, which is almost like not watching it at all. But yeah, I don't know. Joke like what movie? Think of the last movie you went to the theaters to see 3 times. Fucking ask me 6 months ago, and you could have said what. Think of the last time you went to a theater, right? I don't know. It's kind of seasonal. I don't go to the movies all year round. Uh, but yeah, Joker's just still lingering in my mind. I don't know. I think it's going to be lingering in a lot of people's minds for quite some time. Um, and then there's that new Robert Eggers film, which I don't even know why I'm saying his name, right? Like I know the guy and his and his style, even though I never even saw his one other movie. But it's got fucking Robert Pattinson, Willem Dafoe, shot in black and white and some weird aspect ratio. You know, it's like, oh yeah, man, this is gonna be cool, right? It's different. The Lighthouse is what it's called. Uh, and I read in an interview that Robert Pattinson was saying how he fucking his first scene of the shoot was like a ferocious masturbation scene, and it's like, and Robert Eggers didn't see me the same way any time after that. Like, just like Jesus, you know. That's the kind of shit I used to watch when I was like 14, you know, in fucking 8th grade Mexico. Just watching all the. I watched Taxi Driver when I was like 13 for the first time. I watched Superbad when I was 12. uh, I don't know. It takes a lot more for me to be shocked or to be absorbed by a movie, right? And a lot of times the way that looks is that people will be like, "Oh my God, did you see the fucking Green Green Road or whatever the fuck that movie is with Viggo Mortensen that won the Oscar last year, Green Book?" And I'm like, you can kind of tell from a trailer if you've seen 1,500 movies in your life. um, and so yeah, a lot of movies that a lot of people like, and just they're not my fancy. But then you get shit like the Joker, you know, and I'm always on the right side with that, right? Not on the right side as in the correct side, but just right or left, because there's always a right and a left side, and one of them is like no guns, and the other one is like yes guns, and in this case it's like no Joker, and then there's like yeah fuck yeah Joker, dude, like fucking express yourself however the fuck you want, make a movie about whatever you want, like if people genuinely shouldn't watch it because it's not good for them, they won't, right? But you can't control what other people are going to be doing. It's like, oh, there's going to be the people that want to replicate the Batman shootings. It's like, you think there aren't those people already? You think this movie is going to take someone like me and just turn him into like, oh yeah, now that seems like a good idea. Fucking dude, there's so much shit that could be said. The same thing could be said for. But you can't control outcomes. You can try, right? I can try and get I don't even know. I don't have an example. But you can't control outcomes, man. So just let people still make the same movies that they always have been making, and make the same jokes that they've always been making. And let's all fucking stop pretending that this is new or this is dangerous, or this is fucking, you're not cultured if you say this way, or, you know, like, why, nah, I don't want to get deeper into politics, you know? I feel like that's just a thing that I've assumed about podcast. It's just like, oh, you got to talk about current events sometimes. It's like, yeah, but why fucking politics? Because everything that is current needs to be political, you know? Does the Joker really need to be political? No. Just fucking go watch a fucking movie and just watch a movie and shut the fuck up, right? Like my dad, dude. Like, when just growing up my whole life, we would go to movies. Just me, my brother, my dad, and eventually my dad's girlfriend, my stepmom. And we go to a movie, and it's like fucking, think of a fucking great movie, right? Whichever one. And then we walk out of the movie, and we're all like, what do you think? And he's just like, it's been done before, right? Or like, just fucking, what would he say? That's not what he would say. He would say like, he like the whole, that's the point I was trying to make, is that the whole movie, he would either be laughing or just super engaged. And then when he came out, he'd be like, it was all right, right? Like, Tom Cruise, at the end of the day, that short guy doesn't know, he's always doing the same shit, right? He's driving another airplane. And then that's that, right? We all disagreed with him, but then that's that. We don't fucking spend the rest of the car drive home talking about like, but Tom Cruise shouldn't be doing stunts about terrorism, like, because people could be terrorists. Like, no, son, people can't be terrorists. You know, it's like fucking, that's what people sound like to me. Nobody talks about themselves. Because nobody even looks at themselves. I skew on the fucking side of looking at myself too much, and I suffer because of that. Because I don't give myself a fucking mental break. I'm not saying I'm a hard fucking worker all the time. I'm not complimenting myself. But even when I'm not doing shit, even when I'm just like, today was supposed to be a day of rest, right? Like, I woke up, I wrote, I fucking do some laundry, and then I sit down and I read. But the whole time I'm just thinking like, dude, you're gonna read right now? It's your day off. You could be doing more writing. And I just, nobody else, it seems, likes to really look at themselves that way. At least not everybody. I'm sorry. I'm talking about the same fucking group of people here, None of those people look at themselves. They just like to point fingers and be like, you're a worse person than me. Everybody look at him. And still, we all suffer from the same dilemma, I think. Those people as well as not those people, which is another thing I've been thinking about recently. Is the term, I learned about this recently, and I don't remember where, but the term, let me drink some water. The term was process addictions. And what the term, I guess, is defined as, let me read the fucking definition, right, for the internet. Let's see what they have to say. Definition of process addiction. And National Helpline. What is a process addiction, and types of addiction can occur in many forms. Often it is assumed that physical dependence, characterized by withdrawal symptoms, is required in order for someone to be diagnosed with an addiction. But the fact is, can occur with all the negative consequences in a person's life, minus the physical issues faced by people who compulsively engage in drug and alcohol abuse. It is the compulsive nature of the behavior that is often indicative of a behavioral addiction or process addiction in an individual. The compulsive nature of the behavior. The compulsion to continually engage in an activity or behavior despite the negative impact on the person's ability to remain mentally and or physically healthy. That's what they define it as. And to me what that means is, everyone can define mentally and physically healthy their own way, right? I think that to be mentally healthy, you've got to express creativity somehow. You can't just work, go out and get drinks and fucking you're only gonna get to a certain point mentally that way, and physically, that's probably my worst one right now. I mean, not my worst one. I mean, I ride my bicycle 5 days a week for 40 minutes. There's people that don't even open the window up to get fresh air. But the point I'm trying to make is that I've suffered from this. I still suffer from this from time to time. I think it's less of a it's more of a long-term addiction. And the way that I suffer from it is just, sometimes before bed, I'll play a podcast, right, as I'm falling asleep, just to mute out my fucking thoughts. And why do I do that? Because when I go to sleep, at least lately, right, the times that I do that is because I start to feel anxious before sleep. And so it's I'll just fucking, instead of recognizing the emotion or feeling of anxiety, I am gonna, good feelings, podcast, comedy, boom, let's do it. And it works, excuse me. You listen to fucking Joe Rogan's voice or something, and you're just dude, this is so relaxing. What are they talking about? Fucking spearfishing. Oh yeah, dude, spearfishing. Maybe one day I'll do that, right? And you start to get into this other person's life, and you forget all about yours. Works great. You fall asleep. Boom. Sometimes you even giggle a little bit right before you're falling asleep, just and you fall asleep. But that to me is an example of a process addiction, right? And it's a blurry line because not everything that could be a process addiction not everything you do that could be a process addiction, you're doing because it's a process addiction, or as a process addiction. I'm not saying that just objectively watching podcasts or listening to comedy is a bad thing. I'm saying the link between that and me wanting to get away from the feelings of anxiety is, or just not even get in tune with your feelings. Because, sometimes I get home from work and what's the first thing that I do? I fucking throw on a podcast, right? I'm just gonna sit down for 5 minutes and catch up with my phone and throw on a little podcast. And instead of just fucking get home and be all right, dude, fucking good day at work. Talking to fucking the Louisiana guy was a little bit draining. How are you feeling, man? You fucking had to listen to him for 6 hours and still you do your job. Maybe sit down for a little second, do some breathing exercises, dude. And no, it's just boom, 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 one thing to the next, I'm at work, I'm on my bike listening to music, then I'm at home listening to a podcast until I'm outside and I'm at a fucking trivia night with my friends and I am just listening to the conversation or to the announcers, right? And when am I ever listening to myself? Not very often. Because you're involved in these process addictions, right? And that's why people don't like to look at themselves, is because they don't even know how. How are you going to look at yourself when all you do is go to work and then get home and throw on Netflix and fucking stuff some Bluebell ice cream down your throat, right? Or oh, it's the NBA finals, bro. Like, I gotta watch everything. And you're just watching 3 hour long games where you're continuously putting more and more food in your mouth. Um, yeah, you're just not. Those things can quickly and easily become process addictions. I'm not saying that if every Friday night you and your girl throw on a little bit of Netflix and you watch The Wire or something. I don't even know if they have that on there, but right, but you're like, babe, you want to start watching The Wire? I heard it was really good. And she's like, I don't know what The Wire is, but it sounds scary. I'm in. And then you're like, it becomes a tradition, right? Me and my ex-girlfriend used to watch Game of Thrones every Sunday night. And I would, cook up a little fucking chicken, spicy little chicken that I make, rice and broccoli, and watch a little bit of Game of Thrones, right? Get a little bit of fire in our mouths, and then get a little bit of fire from the dragons. uh, and and so shit like that is like, dude, that's a part of like what people live for, right? Is to spend time with people that we love, just doing silly, goofy things that we enjoy, or watching silly, goofy things. But when it's just like a routine, and you just get home and you're like, what episode of Chernobyl am I on? Oh my god, this is so fucking intense. Oh, I finished Chernobyl. Oh, the new Breaking Bad movie. Oh, fucking Joe Rogan's put out 3-4 hour interviews. What are you doing? And so I don't know. That's one thing I've been thinking about. Process addictions just seem like something that I never have heard people talking about until I heard Dr. Drew talking about it on Tiger Belly's podcast. And it just made me reconsider, putting my podcast on right before bed. I'm like, why am I doing that? Why don't I read or just lie down and be with my thoughts? Why do I have to disappear into someone else's world, right? Why do you guys have to disappear into my fucking world right now? Like, hopefully it's not because of a process addiction, but the fact that it can be, the fact that I can contribute to someone else's process addiction is, I don't know, it's hard not to get existential if you think about that as a creative, or like an artist, or like a writer, or a fucking musician, or whatever. Like, I don't want to read someone else's book that I don't know, right? I mean, unless it was someone that I cared about, or someone that I knew was a good writer, I don't want to fucking, like, oh, my old boss from the fucking food truck, if he put out a book and he started promoting it, I'm probably not gonna fucking read it, dude. I got my own shit to do. I got my own shit to focus on, right? But then I'm putting shit out there, and like, I'm expecting other people to prioritize my thing over their time when that's not what I do with other people's things. Yeah, I don't know. That's why it's I don't know. I don't even know. Yeah. It just makes you a little bit like, all right, dude. Then lower your expectations, right? Just do this because you enjoy it, and not because you want to make a bunch of other people enjoy it. Because if you don't enjoy it, nobody else is going to. But make sure you try. Make sure you fucking try, at least, because it's fun to make other shit that other people can enjoy, and not just always enjoy other people's shit. So that's the takeaway for this podcast, which I should now call the podcast, because that's all I've been. Those are like my little 1 to 2 second time buyers, just like and then if I but yeah, takeaway is there, I did it again. Enjoy doing some of your own shit instead of just always enjoying other people's shit. Yeah, and I think with that I'm gonna sign off and wish you guys a good start to your week on a Monday night, if that's when you're listening to this, or a good start to your weekend. Yeah, good night.